It is time once again to make a ridiculously powerful engine because that is what I do now. Would you please refer to me by my full name? It is Ridiculous Engine Builder Extraordinaire Murphy. A couple weeks ago, I made a V16 that has over 12,000 horsepower, and then people showed me up in the comments by making a 1300 horsepower V16. Then last week, I made a 15, almost 1600 horsepower i3, and then people showed me up in the comments once again, cresting past 1600 horsepower. I feel bad. That's when I realized my methodology was wrong, but we'll get into that. It's time to make an i5 by popular request. When I think about i5s, the only real North American vehicles I can think of are Volvos and the GMC Canyon. So today we're going to try to shove a massive i5 into this ridiculously OP. This thing was made for fuel economy, so it's made to be as light as possible, but it's fully carbon fiber, including the frame. Show truck, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't really make i5s, I tend to make i6s instead, but we're going to do our best here. So this is what I've been doing in the past. Basically, I've been increasing the displacement to the maximum that you can get, but what happens is our components are not good enough for the torque that we can make with that setup. So what I'm going to do instead is make the bore the maximum it can be, but make the stroke the smallest that it can be. So we'll be down fairly significantly on displacement. It might not need to be the smallest, it might be able to be up a little bit if we can actually get power at RPM, but this will let us have much higher RPM. The reason why is because now the pistons have a shorter distance to travel, even though they're bigger pistons, and theoretically it should be much more stable at high RPM, which was one of the issues I was having before. So we're running a 2.8 liter i5. I realize it's counterintuitive, but in this game at least, it's almost better instead of having a nearly 7 liter, 6.8 liters, to go for a 2.8. That's 4 liters less displacement, but this might make more power. Now what this really is all about is trying to fine-tune the details. Like I can shrink the displacement even further. We can go for a 2 liter, but I think that's going to be too much. We'll probably need a little bit more stroke. So that being said, let me try to get the strongest components we can get on here, i.e. billet steel heavy. I believe we found out last time that forged heavy is actually better than titanium as well. And pretty much everything else should be good. We'll have to see how this does with stress, but obviously we're going to need some other things as well. I'm going to try for a very high RPM limit here. With a different methodology, well, we're still keeping turbos, so don't worry about that. We need turbochargers. We only get one. I have been running ethanol, but the fuels that you choose actually make a huge difference. I've just been using this as a standard 130 RON. The thing is that fuel blend and fuel type make a very large difference to your torque curves and stuff. So for the sake of trying something different, we're going to go methanol. I don't know, dragsters use it, so why not? Full turbo race setup, no mufflers or anything in the way. What kind of power? 794 and failure due to valve float. Well, good news is I can fix that. And 843. We don't need all that RPM, but we can actually take it, which is insane. I have not seen this good of an RPM reliability threshold in a long time, to the point that we can actually lower our pistons to forged heavy. Oh, never mind, maybe not. Yeah, actually, we can get away with it, 12,000 RPM. I don't really care about the reliability reduction stuff. As long as it doesn't break, it's good, and that gives us up to 3,000 in the torque reliability threshold. So this gives us a lot of opportunity to make more power. It's just about, can we actually get it with this displacement? So we might have to turn things up a little bit to get these numbers higher, but for now, it's in a good spot. So I'm going to do some stuff that I normally do when I'm doing this because it just kind of makes sense. First of all, we need to double check some stuff. Exhaust, ridiculously restrictive. Compressor, again, ridiculously restrictive. When you see it in red, especially when it has a high percentage and the heat is very high, it is far too restrictive. So let's increase these, although that's not going to matter that much because the headers are fine. And instead we'll increase this, and there we go, 900 something horsepower. Easy. I've never really built the i5, so I honestly don't know what to expect in terms of power, so we'll just have to see. Our turbine is good, our compressor is not, so next thing to do is increase the compressor size. Now I saw some stuff on the last video with the i3 that my turbo was so big that the engine wasn't even able to spool it. In this case, we should be a little bit better. I believe that i3 was like 4 liters, so it's actually bigger in displacement than this. But the reason I'm doing that stuff is because big turbos means big power. It's not necessarily about the spooling capability in this game. It's not hyper-realistic by any means. We want the numbers. And in this case, our turbine is actually perfect size, even though it's maximum size right now. So increasing the compressor size significantly should increase our power significantly as well, or at least power capabilities significantly. And in fact, we're just going to maximize the size of it. Compressor size might be the biggest issue with this build so far. That might be a problem. We're going to go ahead and do some stuff that generally gives good power, i.e. full fuel, full advanced ignition timing, and basically, even though it might not give us enough power right now, it's necessary as we add the big ticket item, which is boost. Lots and lots of boost. So we actually lost power by making the manifold bigger. We can reel that down as is necessary. I'm just going to go full size on everything and come back to it. So as you already know from this series, I don't care at all about the torque curve. I just want maximum power. So torque, who cares? Torque curve, get out of here. We want power, and that means cam profile can be all the way up as is necessary. Compression, make it higher. Let's try and increase the AR ratio and see what happens. Okay, that's not good. Compressor surge, which has absolutely destroyed it, which is good. I'm gonna have to reel that back a little bit. 904 horsepower, that's not as much as I thought we could get. So basically the idea here is to tune it up to the limit of the AR ratio before it grenades itself and does that, and then hit it with as much boost as we possibly can to get the power going. I hope that we can make more than the i3. Pretty much as long as we don't encroach on these at all, we're not going to have any issues. And I feel like the displacement can be raised significantly here. Okay, we're running into valve float problems, but we're also not using our full RPM, so we can drag that down to like 8,000 or whatever, and we're going to have zero issues at all. Yeah, no problems. So you'll notice with this setup that the horsepower is higher than the torque, and that is what I've kind of needed this entire time. Basically, I've been screwing it up by making the engine square, so my mistake. Let's give it a little bit more displacement. Yeah, we need more displacement, otherwise how are we going to make any power? Hopefully it doesn't screw up our stuff here. Just watch these reliability things. I'm going to move this up to like half, 5 liters. And unfortunately that shrinks our conrods and our cranks down significantly in the RPM department. But that's still not bad considering where we were before. You notice with this setup that the horsepower is a lot higher. Obviously we have 2,000 horsepower now, but the torque is higher than the RPM. It's eclipsed it, in fact, and that's where the danger zone comes in up here. Here we can adjust. Here we can't without changing the displacement. So I'm going to somewhat arbitrarily set it to be 5 liters, and we'll just kind of go from there. I know we can get up to like almost 7 liters, especially with the little boosted piece that we have, but we might be able to get more power out of it just by messing around with this stuff now. Looking at this, the compressor is restrictive, the turbine is restrictive, there's nothing we can do, they're as big as they can be. It is a boat anchor of a turbo on the side of this thing. So I'm at the point where if I add boost, I lose power, which means we're doing something wrong. I gotta figure that out. Okay, with a bit of a reduction to the compression, it's a significant reduction in fact. We're down to 9-to-1 compression, and a little tick up on the AR, and the thing just goes crazy in the wrong way. It's a mountain range. We don't want that. I'm going to call that the Appalachians. Instead, we're going to try to hit the boost. Oh yeah, that's a bit more. That's a bit more. I'm just going to keep playing with it. We are still nowhere near the reliability threshold for these, so I think I can probably get away with even more displacement. Yeah, RPM limited stuff is all fine. At this point, I don't really care. Displacement is king. Okay, we're up to 5.5 liters and just starting to get on with the torque issues, but we have 2,500 horsepower, which is not anything to sneeze at there. That's a lot of power. No complaints about that. So I think if I just keep adjusting these sliders slowly and slowly, I'm going to be able to get there. The goal is 3,000. I think that's fairly realistic, but Honestly, I have no idea. Maybe this methodology is not the best. Oh my goodness, 2900 with some valve shenanigans. But because we have no reliability issues, I think I can probably do this. Yeah, we're a little bit into that, but that gives us a lot better stuff for the conrods, although apparently not that much better. It's still like unreliable, but we can get a little bit more RPM out of it, which should boost us up, although apparently not. Wow, that barely makes a difference. Now that's 2900, like we're darn close here. That's as good as I can get for RPM with these conrods, I believe. The titanium ones are the best, RPM wise. Unless these are better for some reason. Oh no, that just destroys it. Okay, titanium it is. But yeah, because we don't need the heavy components, because I'm just not making enough torque, it almost makes sense to try light. I think this would probably give us a lot more room. And also grenade everything because the light pistons are not good enough. This is not a good power curve at all. Just want to put that out there, but 3,000 horsepower. Hello there, 3,000 horsepower. Happy to see you. Although that's as high as the VVL RPM will go, because that's as high as our RPM limit is, because we can't go any higher because of the conrods. So the only way to get these conrods to be better is to lower the displacement, which I don't really want to do. I think at this point we're pretty much where we should be. I might be able to get a little bit more power with a little bit more displacement, but it could also just absolutely screw this. So let's go back to the turbos and stuff and see if there's anything I can do. Everything here is like way too open, like the intercooler is way too big, the manifold is too big, headers, exhaust is all too big. But if you shrink it, I mean, we gain a little bit of power. Back pressure, I guess. I'm not sure why, but yeah, a little bit of power out of these. Back to the turbos. I've managed to get 3,094 just by adjusting some of the sizes of things. The headers and exhaust are smaller, and yeah, we'll have to see what this does. One more AR ratio. Oh yeah, wow, that's a lot of power off. Seems like that's pretty much in the sweet spot. A little bit of boost. Oh, that's more power. Okay, interesting, interesting. Don't care about this stuff. I care about this. More power, please. Honestly, sometimes if you just kind of lose the context of what we're doing here, this basically just becomes a spreadsheet that I'm playing with. It's like I'm watching the big number go up. That's pretty much it. Okay, our current displacement is 5.5 liters approximately. If I turn this up, is it gonna screw it? Ooh, we got a tiny bit more power, and it's darn close. If I go up one more, it's probably screwed. Yep, that's it. Okay, so we can only go here. It's gonna be... that's it. That's all the conrods can take. Man, oh man. Okay, I've done it. I've reached the highest that it'll let me go before I can bottom out the crank or the conrod again. So the conrods are entirely my problem at this point. Like, we can get more stress, but it's going to come at the cost of RPM. And then if we lose our RPM, then we're going to be down here, and it's just like, that's 1,000 less horsepower, so why would I even bother? Okay, that is the real end right there. 3,442.5 horsepower at 8,000 RPM, 3,517.1 newton meters of torque at 4,400 RPM. I don't care if it's usable or not, it doesn't matter. This is absolutely ridiculous power, and I love it. Unfortunately, we have reached the torque cap right here, and I think that's all I can do. Unless there's some like VVL stuff, or VVT maybe, that's messing me up. I'm scared to push these buttons, this might mess it up for good. Oh! Oh my goodness, no VVT. Look at that power. And we still have room to grow. Oh my goodness, I've done it. 3,953, and I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Wow, 100% damage here, and that's, oh man, it's so close to 4,000 horsepower. I'm gonna just, it's 4,000 horsepower, that's close enough. Wow, that is insane. Okay, final readout before I lose my mind. I've been working on this for too long. 3,953.3 horsepower at 8,000 RPM. 3,518.7 newton meters of torque at 8,000 RPM. That is bananas. Unfortunately, we cannot go higher in the RPM. We definitely be able to get more power that way, and we cannot go higher in the power anyways because the conrods are broken in both cases. I don't think it'll break in BeamNG with this. I'm not 100% on that. We will find out. But if we run it in game, it'll probably break. Just a fair warning. Let's hear how it sounds. Oh, it's beefy. Wow. Okay, let's do a pull. I mean, it broke, but it is what it is. I don't mind. Oh man, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. Okay, now let's build a car that's actually worthy of this thing. Okay, something you're going to immediately notice, there is an intercooler sticking far out of this, where you're going to fix that. The engine is far too far forward, so yeah, that's awkward. Colors and stuff I will adjust. Everything else I will probably adjust as well. BRB. Joker car, Joker car. No, I just wanted to make it fluorescent pink, but I didn't want to fully commit. So now it's blue and fluorescent pink because it's kind of cool looking. I don't know. So this thing is a juicy i5 with a massive exhaust pipe. I like what I see down there. I'm just going to quickly do some advanced trim stuff, specifically moving the engine back because it's too far forwards for that intercooler. So if you want to do that, by the way, you can just go to advanced trim settings here, engine position, and I believe it's X position? No. Y position. There we go. Okay, it's back in there a little further and a little bit more realistic, I guess. I'm also going to adjust the X as well just to raise it up because it's too far down. That is more in line with what I believe would actually be realistic. Plus, intercooler sticking through the grill too, which is really cool. Okay, fixtures wise, it's pretty much set. This thing is made to tow. It's got a trailer hitch here and a trailer hitch here. This is going to be a lot of fun to drive, so I'm excited about that. Let's go to the drivetrain itself. Rear wheel drive. What on this fine planet is going on with the gearing graph? Wow. So I just fixed the engine to see if that was part of the issue, and it apparently was not. Let's try and do... CVT is a terrible idea. Let's do a dual clutch. It's four-wheel drive now. There's something wrong with the way that this is set up. Like, it's just not working out. I'm going drag tires, which hopefully will give us at least a little bit of ability to drive, because at this point this thing is absolutely ridiculous. The wheels are too small, though. That is way too small. We need bigger, much larger. Hopefully this helps with the issues as well. Let's do 18s. Actually 18s are a little big. Let's do 17s. Back to gearing. I really did not spend a lot of time on gearing in the first video, or first few of these videos, and some people commented on that. So I'm going to try a little bit harder here and try to make something that actually functions, because obviously this is a disaster. I don't think I've ever seen it go up, down, and then straight up before. That is just not correct in most aspects. Also, our top speed is ridiculously low for whatever reason. Probably because this thing is a sailing brick. Even though it has almost 4,000 horsepower, nearly 4,000 horsepower in fact, we're still only getting 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds. That's with full drag tires, full everything. This is totally screwed up. This is an 8-speed now, and it's still not really doing what I would expect it to. But we'll have to see how this goes in BeamNG. I hope it's decent. I think it'll be fine. Crossing my fingers. We can always go into four-wheel drive as well. Oh my goodness, all-wheel drive makes a big difference. Okay, maybe it was just ridiculous lack of grip. So we're going all-wheel drive then. I know that that's not preferable for trucks. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but at least in the stuff here, it'll give us a much better top speed. Yeah, 391 Ks top speed, 1.4 seconds to 100. That is ridiculously fast and hopefully reasonably drivable. Most of the weight on this is probably in the front. Let's see. Yeah, it was definitely also an issue of weight in the wrong places. So now it is basically front wheel drive. Don't think about it too hard. We're basically saying screw it to the towing stuff and going hardcore on top speed. Sportiness and drivability are both 0%. Oh, because the rear tires blew up. Why does this keep happening? So I just realized I made this thing all-wheel drive, and then I also realized that having differential tire sizes on all-wheel drive is ridiculous and stupid. But I'm just gonna lock these in. Oh yeah, that's way too big. We'll go back down to 780 on both, because you do not want different sizes on all-wheel drive cars. That's just terrible for your gears. So I gave it a little bit of aero so it actually has downforce. This stuff here is all still absolutely screwed, but We're just going to continue to ignore the existence of this entire graph and this graph as well. Who cares? Don't worry about it. The other things that I've been thinking about, we're going very high on the weight stuff. Probably want this, probably want this. Hopefully that helps with some of these issues. One thing that can't really be fixed is that I can't make the brakes at the front any bigger. The only way to do that is to increase the rim size. So I guess we can get bigger front wheels maybe to try and get that to work and just have smaller back wheels. Again, it doesn't really make that much sense realistically, but I might have to do it for the sake of the build. So that's 19s on the front, 17s on the back, going full on dragster here. There we go, 20s on the front. Is that enough? That is max size brakes, which is definitely better. So if you actually wanted to make this a working vehicle, you'd need massive front wheels. Honestly, I think that's as good as it's going to get. It's time to send this thing out into the real world. How's it going to do? It's going to be interesting to drive for sure. And I'm excited to pull some stuff with it. That's the main thing. How is this going to do with a trailer on the back of it with this beefy i5? Although remarkably small considering what it is. But hey, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Let's drive this 4,000 horsepower beast and see what it'll do in beamng. Alright, so here is the truck in beamng, and yeah, it turned out pretty much exactly like you'd think, except the front of it seems to be glass, which is not really what I was going for. But it's all good. The massive exhaust pipe runs all the way to the back. You definitely wouldn't actually want that to dump there. You'd probably put it in front of the front wheels so it doesn't have to go through your pushrod suspension that's hiding in there. The truck camera is way out the back, probably just because of the mod body. This is a mod body. Let's try this thing out and see how it drives. I've only revved it just a little bit to see what it will do. Keep in mind, awkwardly, it is almost 70% front wheel drive. Oh my goodness, it's fast. Oh wow, it's so smooth too. That's actually the final gear right there. The gearing might be a little bit short, but because of the short gearing, it rips so hard. That was over 400 kilometers an hour. This might be the most stable, like, one of these vehicles that I've made, surprisingly. And it's probably because I lowered it down a little bit in terms of the performance at the end there. I did drop it a couple of horsepower in order to make the engine not explode. I'll admit it. But if we get out into the middle of nowhere here and sort of make our way back, I just want you to witness this acceleration again. Oh yeah, this thing is ripping hard. 200 kilometers an hour in like no time at all. 300. Man, oh man. So, let me let you in on a little secret. I had an idea at the end of all this, what my plan is, and I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to do this or not. I might only pick a few, but I'm planning on doing every engine configuration in the game. We're going to do V8s, V6, i6, i4, everything. And then I was going to do a contest versus all of them to see which one was actually the best. Even though some of them obviously will make similar power. Some of them will make so much power it doesn't matter. And a lot of it is going to come down to my body choice and gearing at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm curious. What we might do is put different engines all in the same vessel and just see what that'll do. But I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about. There really isn't a way to make that idea fair, to be honest. But hey, fairness isn't always fun. Okay, this car has so much grip that if you turn too sharply, it will roll. Very, very easily, in fact. Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun. The same thing was happening with the K car that I made last week. It must just be a characteristic of these drag tires, because I don't see any other way that it would do that. Which, by the way, we should definitely take this thing for a drag. You may recognize that little K car from last week's video. I'm going to go up against it in this. I'm going to do my best to smash the absolute heck out of it. We do make a lot more power, and I mean, that car is a lot smaller, but it was not made to be as fast as this thing is, or as stable. Ready? I don't have to do anything. Dirt stable. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Almost 7 seconds. And it's not even finished yet? Or it might not finish at all. Wow. That car is so much slower than this. Oh my goodness, I think the i5 is going to take this by a considerable margin. That car was 11.2. Oh man. So one of my favorite things about BeamNG and just like games in general is this type of stuff. I absolutely love trailers. I love this sort of weight kind of thing. There's a reason I like SnowRunner so much. And I'm going to pull the heaviest cargo trailer that you can get, which is 2,100 kilos worth of planks. The funny thing is I actually have to do this soon. I'm going to be moving in the next couple months, and I need to use my truck to tow a heavy trailer. So this is the warm-up, except with a vehicle that is 10 times more powerful than my actual truck. But let's load this thing up. We're going to use the hitch over here. The fifth wheel I actually have not tested, so maybe that'd be an interesting thing to test as well. Oh, come on, you're so close. Come on, this is not how real trailer work goes. So we're a little bit low overall. We definitely need more hitch height in order to accommodate this, or potentially a weight distribution hitch, realistically speaking. But let's just try it. Yeah, we make enough power that even this amount of planks is not a big deal. Not at all. Let's try an acceleration run. Oh my goodness. Yes, that wasn't even sport mode. Oh! Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing in the future, too. Hopefully not. I mean, one of the biggest challenges with a trailer, especially if you get a big 20-footer or something, is backing that sucker up. So let's just do a little bit of back and forth. Oh, yeah, no, that's how you get jackknifed. Man, I'm so scared for the move now. I need 4,000 horsepower. Let's rip hard, come on. Oh, that's rough. Oh! Rest in peace, my possessions. This is a triple axle dump trailer, but I'm hoping that I can hook up to it. I don't know if I can. I'm not seeing the orb of connection over there, which is unfortunate. Probably not the right kind of hitch, but a man can dream. That'd be so much fun to tow that thing. If you can't tow it, you may as well flip over trying to get over to it. This thing is basically an RC car in terms of power distribution. Well, boys, I've done it. I have made a nearly 4,000 horsepower inline 5 with a single turbo. Unfortunately, you can't dual turbo these things. But man, oh man, does it rip hard, as you can tell. I am very pleased about this. It's going to be a lot of fun to continue with this series. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And if I didn't make it clear enough at the beginning of this, I want you to beat me. If you have the game, or I mean you can buy the game too, then I challenge you, beat me. Get the i5, smash this record as hard as you can, and then post about it in the comments, brag about it, let me know. I'm curious. I'm hoping that at one point in this series, nobody can beat me. At least honestly. But until then, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to this channel for more. I've got lots of stuff cooking, just not a lot of time to actually make it. That's why this video is late, but I will get there. Things will get done, and we may or may not crest 430 kilometers an hour at some point in the very near future. Until then, thank you for watching. Also, don't forget to support me on Patreon and YouTube join button stuff. Names coming up for that soon if you want to see more stuff on my channel. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. It is time that I shout out the members of this channel who have chosen to support me via the join button. This is the V8 tier, and also my Patreon members. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you for watching this channel, and thank you for becoming members of my Patreon and also my YouTube memberships program stuff. Some people have been here for literally years and years and years. Overlord is 52 months into this. That's insane. So yeah, thank you, Overlord, and thank you everybody else as well. Specifically, again, Overlord, G.A. Pope, Davis Heister, Goofy Blaze, Baja Blast, Mancini Country, Shadow Jasper, and I Look Valheimil. Thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate you guys a lot. I will see you again soon. More automation stuff to come. I'm kind of doubling down a little bit on automation stuff. I really want to bring my channel back. We're coming back from the dead a little bit here, so it's important that I keep this going. Thank you guys. See you again soon.